Hey, how's everybody doing today? I hope you all have had a great week. My week has been pretty good, just busy. For this video today, I've decided to do Frank Lambert's Pedlar and Divinity on George Whitefield, written in 1990. And my first question about this video had to do with the fact of what is a peddler. I had no idea, so I looked it up, and according to Oxford Dictionary, it is just a variant in the spelling of the word peddler, which means traveling salesman. So I am so glad I got that mystery solved today. So onto the text itself, I found it interesting that Lambert has labeled Whitefield as a peddler because he quite literally traveled around the colonies evangelizing and selling Christianity to believers and non-believers alike. And what's even better is what he was selling is at no cost because it was the free gift of salvation through Jesus Christ. And that's exactly what evangelism is. It's missions, and it is selling Christianity through teaching and preaching. And Whitefield was a very successful salesman, if we're going to label him as that, because he generated a lot of religious enthusiasm among the masses, according to Lambert. And also in A History of Christianity in the United States and Canada, Mark Knowles says that Whitefield was a dramatic preacher, which is what made him such a success. In his article, Lambert said that Whitefield marketed his faith like a merchant, and in closing he says that one of the greatest ironies of the Great Awakening is that the Calvinist Whitefield embraced mass marketing while a lot of other religious leaders were opposing what he was doing in the way that he was doing it. And what he was able to do is go through the colonies. He took all of his sermons, writings, etc. to him to preach his message and convert people to Christianity, encourage them to leave something as strict as Puritanism or some of the other religious faiths that were almost backward in their efforts in converting people and sharing the glory that is Jesus Christ. And what Whitefield was doing was he was doing Christianity right. He was sharing the joy of having Christ in your life, the joy of having the Holy Spirit inside of you. And that is just a reason to celebrate and be emotional and have joy. Whereas Puritan leaders were speaking against that. They were very basic and simple in their worship, and they believed God was to be revered and loved, but it's like they didn't want their congregation to show that they had been changed by Christ. In closing, I just wanted to say that Whitefield was opposed by a great many people for what he was doing, and it's not that he was teaching false doctrine, false preaching and teaching. He was just successful where all these other religious leaders weren't. He was able to convert people and bring people into his fold, and people were seeing that, and it's part of what the Great Awakening was, that people were leaving behind their religious bondage that they were in, almost like the Pharisees of the New Testament. They're just very legalistic, and there was just no joy or love to be found in their teaching. They were just by the book completely. And one last thing I wanted to leave with was that it's found in the Journal of Southern History by Alfred Aldridge. He says that opposition to his missionary activity was based on his doctrine and his evangelical enthusiasm, his itinerant preaching, and his gathering of funds. And George Whitefield was doing what a lot of people weren't able to do throughout the colonies. He sparked this religious movement that sparked the pursuit of religious liberty and religious freedom. And he did it effectively, and he was, in fact, a traveling salesman for the Christian faith. Thank you, guys.